Today we're going to be discussing scapular CARs, which in my opinion are some of the easier CARs to both conceptually understand and to also implement practically. There are definitely ways that you can make it harder, but we're just going to be going through the basics today. So your scapula is the part of the body that most of us call the shoulder blade. It's right here, and you can feel it if you kind of move your shoulder around a little bit like that. Okay, so your scapula is not technically connected to your thorax, but it is a really, really important component of having good, healthy, strong shoulder mobility. So we do want to pay special attention to this area of the body. It has applications for so many different kinds of movements, so many different kinds of practices. It has an important relationship to your rotator cuff as well. So if you have any rotator cuff related injuries, limitations, shoulder impingements, imbalances, this is also a great thing to practice for yourself. Okay, so with our scapular CARs, again, we're going to come back to the idea of thinking about a CAR as a complete circle, and there's going to be the north, south, east, and west points in the body. So north would be up, I guess west would be back, south would be down, and east would be forward. Okay, so when you're just beginning these CARs, you might really be consciously thinking about hitting each of those points as you go through the CAR, but the objective is not to do each of those motions like that, really stuttery. The objective is to smooth that out and make your CAR, your joint circle, as smooth as possible. So when we go through this exercise, there's a lot of different positional variations that you would be able to practice for this. It has a lot of applications for like push-ups, overhead range of motion, handstanding, weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting. There's almost infinite number of applications I can think of for this. So I'm going to teach you them standing up today because it's the easiest to demonstrate and the easiest to practice. But you can get as creative as you want to. You can do this from sideline. You can do this in a plank position. You can do it from so many different positions because the scapula is very involved and easy to access from different positions, unlike some of the other CARs. Okay, so I have a block with me today to help you to help give you a visual demonstration for doing both CARs at the same time. And I'm also going to show you some variations with just working one shoulder at a time. So I'm going to start with both because I think it's easiest just to feel both shoulder blades moving together. Okay, so we're going to grab the block. I'm going to put my hands on the outside edge of the block, and let me turn to the side so that you guys have a nice profile view of what's going on here. Okay, so extend the arm bones straight. Okay, squeeze the sides of your block, and first we're just going to push the block forward and squeeze the block back. Push forward, squeeze back. So this is called your boxing muscle, your serratus anterior. You're going to feel that start to turn on a little bit too when you move through this range. So your serratus and your rhomboids in the backs of your shoulders. Squeeze the shoulders together, push them forward. Okay, and so if you notice the elbows bending a little bit, you notice this starts happening, really try to extend out through the shoulders. So you're working through here. If you find that the block is too heavy, come out, just make some fists, push forward, release back, push forward, release back. Okay? So once that feels comfortable, we're going to try shrugging up and down. So it's like the block is riding up and down on an elevator. Up, down. So we're going to elevate and depress. Elevate and depress. So it's worthwhile paying attention to what's happening in the rest of the body as you go through this. If you find yourself sitting in a sway back here or jutting the pubic bone forward to try to get more of that reach and that push, come back to center. If it feels like too much to have it with straight legs, you can just take a soft bend in the knees. That will help you lengthen the tailbone back and down behind you, okay? So again, we're just going to lift and lower, lift and lower. Okay, so we did forward and back, east, west, and north, south, up, down. Okay, so now I'm going to bring you guys through. I'm going to switch to so you guys can see the other side. I'm going to bring you guys through all four directions, and then we'll smooth it out into a shoulder CAR, okay? Squeeze your block, arm bones lengthen, nice soft bend in the knees, tailbone long. Take a nice deep breath in, Exhale, pack the air down into your belly. Good. And then we're going to exhale, push forward. Inhale, squeeze up. Exhale, squeeze back. Inhale, release down. Exhale, push forward. Inhale, squeeze up. Exhale, release back. And inhale, release down. So try that on your own a couple times, hitting all those points north, south, east, west. And once you feel like you have that motion, we're going to try to smooth it out into a complete circle. You might find one shoulder wants to cooperate a little bit more than the other, one shoulder blade. Or one has a little bit more stickiness than the other. We're just trying to smooth that out as much as we can. Smooth it out as much as we can. So for me, I'm starting to notice my neck wants to get involved into this. You may notice that you're leaning to one side, one hip is jutting forward. These are just some common imbalances. You might notice that the elbows start to bend. That might indicate that your triceps or your lats are really tight. Okay, so that's okay too if you need to keep a soft bend here. Again, if the block is too much, put it down, make fists, and just try this way. Okay? Good. So we did CARs, circles, rotations, one way. Now we're going to go the reverse direction with both sides, and then I'm going to show you some positional variations. There's almost infinite variations, but I'm going to show you some of my favorites. Okay? So we're going to come, stand with the block forward, nice soft bend in the knees. Good. So instead of going forward first, we're going to go back, down, then forward, then up. So going the reverse direction. You can try to switch directions a few times. See if that's different. Push the block forward, then down, then back, then up. Right? So hit each of those 4 points and then rock it out into a circle. So we shouldn't be moving the arms like this. If you notice yourself doing that, just balance, reset, isolate in the shoulders again. And if you feel a lot of tension here in the neck, just try to soften in the jaw, soften in the face, smile a little bit. You'll just try a few circles in both directions. You might notice one direction is harder for you. It's harder for me to go back and initiate the circle this way, so I'm noticing the elbows start to bend. So I'm going to let the block go and just take it back this way. So I can focus more on the movement of the scapula than trying to hold the block up. Okay? So that's pretty much it for scapular CARs. They're pretty simple in and of themselves. Where the fun comes in is with all of the positional variations. Okay, so we can also do them asymmetrically. And so, for example, you can hold your shoulder out here and do CARs this way, going in both directions. Okay, you can also hold the hand overhead. Just try some CARs this way. Go in both directions. Okay, so a lot of us, especially the guys that I work with, not to call you guys out or anything, especially the guys that I work with tend to have limited shoulder mobility where reaching up overhead is limited for them. And it's difficult for them to especially get shoulder abduction and this shoulder flexion through here. Okay, so if your arm is out here and this is where you're starting at, there's a little bit of a bend in the elbow, and we're moving the scapula this way, that's fine to start. Eventually you'll gain strength and mobility in your shoulder, so maybe you work it up here. And then that's a great way to track your progress too. You can see in the mirror, I started here, now I'm here, you know, that's a difference of whatever, 20 degrees range of motion, right? So work these CARs in all different directions. And then the other thing too is to load, you can grab a small weight, a dumbbell, a block, and try it this way as well. So again, I'm not using the elbow or the wrist. I'm not using the shoulder or the neck. I'm really using the shoulder blade to initiate these movements. So back up through there is really hard for me, so that might be something I want to practice in my personalized practice, right? So take some time with this. The first progression is to do both hands together just out in front of you, both circles both ways, okay? Maybe 3 to 5 circles. If you want to take more, that's fine. Then try it with a block. So load it up just a little bit, or maybe some really light dumbbells, like 1 or 2 pounds, or you can grab onto a ball, okay? Then try it asymmetrically. Different shoulders, different times. Okay. Maybe you feel a little bit more in one shoulder than the other. You know that's the shoulder that you have to work, the scapula that you have to work more. So I'm making a common mistake that a lot of people do, which is call your scapula your shoulder. They're not actually the same thing. Colloquially, they are called the same thing, but we really are referring to the shoulder blade and the back of your body. Shoulder CARs are a separate practice and exercise, so just keep that in mind as you're going through this. And as always, try to control everything else so that you can really isolate into that part of the body as you move through this. Okay, so have fun with it. I'm excited to see what variations and creative things you guys come up with for your scapular CARs. Have fun. If you have questions, let me know, and happy practicing.